Story. Am I the a-hole for keeping my late wife's money aside for our children? I lost my late wife when our children were young. She had money that was hers. We had joint and separate finances. Anything that was her separate finances is being saved for our children. Where the question of this comes in is, I have remarried and I have a stepchild and another biological child with my present wife. The delicate balance of blending families is never easy, but when finances enter the equation, it becomes even more complex. My current wife has always been aware of my stance regarding my late wife's money. It's set aside exclusively for the children from my first marriage. However, recent financial pressures have begun to strain this understanding. Inflation has hit us hard, as it has many families. We've had to tighten our belts, make sacrifices, and sometimes forgo opportunities for our children. The most recent disappointment came when my stepdaughter, an aspiring dancer, couldn't join specialized classes that could have propelled her towards her dream of becoming a professional. The classes were simply beyond our current financial means. My wife's frustration is palpable. She sees a pot of money that could ease our current struggles, provide opportunities for all our children, and allow us to rebuild our savings. From her perspective, it seems unfair that two of our children have a financial cushion waiting for them while we struggle to provide extras for the others. I understand her point of view, I truly do, but I can't shake the feeling that using this money for anything other than its intended purpose would be a betrayal of my late wife's wishes. Even though she didn't leave a formal will, I feel a deep moral obligation to ensure that her money benefits the children she left behind. When my wife suggested using the funds to cover extracurricular activities for all 4 children, I had to refuse. It's not about favoring some children over others. It's about honoring a commitment to my late wife and our shared children. This money isn't mine to redistribute or reallocate as I see fit. My wife's accusation that I'm treating my stepdaughter and youngest child as less deserving cuts deep. That's not my intention at all. We provide for all our children equally with the resources we have available. The money from my late wife is separate, a legacy she left for her children, not a general family fund. I've tried to explain that we still have a good life, even if we can't afford every luxury or opportunity that comes our way. Many families face similar challenges without having any additional resources to fall back on, but my wife remains unconvinced, insisting that I'm being unreasonable by not utilizing these funds to improve our current situation. The tension this disagreement has created in our household is palpable. I find myself caught between my commitment to honor my late wife's implicit wishes and my desire to provide the best possible life for all of our children. It's a delicate balance, and I'm beginning to question whether I'm handling it correctly. As I reflect on this situation, I can't help but wonder if there's a middle ground I'm not seeing. Am I truly being unreasonable by not the a-hole-lining such a firm stance on this money? Or am I right to preserve it solely for the purpose I believe my late wife intended? Am I the a-hole or not? Comment 1. Not the a-hole. The inheritance from your deceased wife was a premarital asset. It's not in the our money pot, it's in the my money pot, and you have been saving it for the children you had with your first wife. Your wife doesn't have to like it, but it is what it is. She's not entitled to use the money. Comment 2. Not the a-hole. This money was from your late wife, and it is for the children you both had together. It is not for any step, children, or other children you might have with someone else. If it was a need, like a medical issue maybe, I could possibly see using some of those funds, but anything that is a want, nope. Your current wife is the unreasonable one. Story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband his daughter is embarrassing me? Yesterday I, 30F, was chilling at home with my MIL, talking and drinking coffee. When husband, 37M, arrived, he asked me if I would take his daughter, 12F, shopping for a dress. The request seemed innocuous enough, but it immediately stirred up a complex web of emotions and family dynamics that have been simmering beneath the surface for years. To fully understand the situation, it's necessary to delve into the backstory of our blended family. My husband's past includes a relationship with Sarah, which resulted in the birth of their daughter, Mary. This relationship was part of his rebellious phase, a time when he pushed against his parents' expectations. The relationship didn't last, ending when Mary was just 3 years old. I entered the picture 6 years ago, and we've been married for 4. From the beginning, I was warmly welcomed into my husband's family. My mother-in-law, in particular, embraced me as if I were her own daughter. This acceptance, while wonderful for me, has been a source of tension with Sarah, who never received such warm treatment from the family. Mary and I have a cordial relationship. We've all been clear about our roles. I'm not trying to replace her mother. I'm simply her father's wife. However, the differences in parenting styles between our household and Sarah's have created some challenging situations. Sarah adheres to an extreme version of hippie philosophy, teaching Mary to reject societal norms and expectations. While the underlying message of self-acceptance is admirable, the practical application has become problematic. Mary often goes days without showering, wears dirty clothes, and neglects basic hygiene like brushing her teeth or hair. Her appearance has become so unkempt that she could be mistaken for a homeless child on the street. So, when my husband asked me to take Mary shopping for a dress for an upcoming gala, an important event where he'll be receiving a career award, I hesitated. I explained to him that I feel embarrassed being seen in public with Mary due to her appearance and hygiene. My mother-in-law, present for this conversation, suggested that perhaps Mary shouldn't attend the event at all, as her appearance might reflect poorly on the family in such a formal setting. As I voiced my agreement with my mother-in-law, I could see the sadness in my husband's eyes. Yet, he reluctantly concurred with our assessment, saying he would think about it further. Now, as I reflect on this conversation, I'm filled with conflicting emotions. On one hand, I understand the importance of this event for my husband's career and the desire to present a polished image. I also sympathize with the frustration of dealing with a child who rejects basic hygiene and societal norms. On the other hand, I can't shake the feeling that we're excluding a 12-year-old girl from an important family event because of her appearance. Are we prioritizing our own comfort and image over the feelings and inclusion of a child? Are we inadvertently reinforcing the very societal judgments that Sarah is trying to teach Mary to reject? I find myself torn between Maynot, the a-holining family harmony, and standing up for what might be right for Mary. The ease with which we discussed excluding her from this event troubles me, yet I can't deny the real-world implications of her appearance and behavior. As I grapple with these conflicting thoughts, I can't help but wonder if our approach to this situation is truly the right one. Am I the a-hole or not? Comment. 1. Yes, the a-hole. You're focused on appearance, how others will see you, instead of the situation at hand. This child is being neglected in terms of personal hygiene. Bad teeth care will likely cause horrible problems down the line, e.g. cavities, losing teeth, ECT. She is a little girl. She doesn't know better. She is just following the guidance of her mom. When you're a kid, you don't know better. You see embarrassment. I see neglect. Why is your husband not doing anything when she is in his care? Why is your husband not petitioning the court to get more time with her? Is it because you're too worried about appearance? Maybe look in the mirror and see what you're missing, respectfully. This girl deserves better care. I hope you all do something. Comment 2. Yes, the a-hole. It is absolutely wretched to be embarrassed of a 12-year-old child, and even worse to tell her father you're embarrassed by her. Your comment about how you will be perceived taking a girl who is wearing baggy, ugly thrift store clothes while you're carrying a designer bag isn't what will make you seem like the evil stepmom and her be seen as Cinderella. It's the fact that you are behaving like one that will do that. Nobody at the mall gives a flying fuck about your designer bag or her baggy clothes. One of my dearest friends owns a high-end, formal clothing store, one where you don't shop without an appointment and aren't walking out the door spending less than 4 figures on anything and are likely spending at least 5. Most of the girls her age who walk in have messy hair, are wearing sweats or leggings and oversized tees. And you somehow don't think you can take a 12-year-old to a mall without being humiliated? It's a mall, for fuck's sake. It's not Henri Bendel or Oscar de la Reynaud. The a-hole. Story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cancel child support? I, 34MN, have been taking care of my sister's 32F daughter for around 6 years. This all started when my sister got arrested for felony theft and drug charges. She's been a longtime addict, poor mouther, and family manipulator. No one else in my family stepped up, so I offered to take my niece in, while my sister did drug treatment to avoid jail. From the moment my niece came to live with me, it was clear that the situation was far more complex than I had initially realized. At just 10 years old, she showed an unexpected aversion to her mother. As time passed and she began to open up, the reasons for her reluctance became painfully clear. The stories she shared of her life with my sister were heart-wrenching, painting a picture of neglect and instability that no child should ever experience. Driven by a growing sense of responsibility and love for this child who had been thrust into my care, I made the decision to seek legal guardianship. I informed my sister that I wouldn't return my niece to her care unless she made significant changes in her life, particularly regarding her substance abuse issues. What followed was a grueling legal battle that stretched over a year and a half. My sister, despite her ongoing struggles with addiction, fought tooth and nail to terminate the guardianship. The financial toll was staggering, 6 figures in legal fees that drained my savings and put a significant dent in my financial future. But I couldn't back down. The thought of sending my niece back to an unsafe environment was unthinkable. Throughout this ordeal, I discovered that as my niece's guardian, I was entitled to child support. Given the astronomical costs I had incurred, I filed for it and was granted the award. The state took over the collection process, garnishing my sister's wages and bank accounts to fulfill the obligation. Now, years later, I find myself facing pressure from other family members to forgive the child support debt. They claim my sister is doing better, but can't get ahead due to the financial burden of the support payments. The back payments alone amount to around $30,000, a sum that, truthfully, I don't desperately need given my comfortable financial situation. However, I find myself reluctant to let it go. The memory of the unnecessary legal battle, the lies my sister told in court, and the financial hit I took during my prime earning years still stings. When relatives push me on this issue, I've started responding with a challenge. If they're so concerned about helping my sister, why don't they pay off her debt to me? This response has been met with huffiness and indignation from my family members, but I can't help feeling justified in my stance. My sister's actions cost me dearly, not just financially, but emotionally as well. The stress and strain of that period took its toll, and the money I spent defending my niece's right to a stable home could have been used for her education or my own retirement. As I reflect on this situation, I find myself grappling with conflicting emotions. On one hand, I understand the desire for family reconciliation and the hope that my sister has truly changed. On the other, I can't shake the feeling that forgiving this debt would be not the a-hole mount, to excusing years of destructive behavior and the pain it caused not just me, but more importantly, my niece. I've invested so much in providing a stable, loving home for my niece. I've watched her grow, heal, and thrive away from the chaos of her early years. The child support, in my mind, is a small price for my sister to pay for the years of care I've provided and continue to provide. As I stand firm in my decision, I can't help but wonder if I'm allowing past hurt to cloud my judgment, or if I'm justified in holding my sister not the a-hole for her actions. Am I the a-hole or not? Comment 1. Not the a-hole. You need to remind your family that the child support your sister is paying is not for you, her brother. It is for her daughter. The fact that you can afford to pay for the daughter's care is irrelevant. That money can go into a college fund if you want. Also, where is the child's father in this picture? He owes child support too. Kudos to you for stepping up to care for your niece. You have spared her from a lifetime of harm. Comment 2. Not the a-hole. While technically and legally your sister owes the money to you, in a roundabout way it's owed to her own daughter. You've mentioned using funds for her education, and you've mentioned $30K. You could use that money for her education as well. Depending upon where she goes to school, it might end up covering a couple semesters. It might make it so that she doesn't need to work for a year and could focus better on whatever she's studying. It would certainly make it so that the daughter could loosen her belt quite a bit someday. Instead of you giving it to her someday or spending it to make her life easier, it went into the rock pipe or into a needle. It's not really money that's owed to you, it's really owed to her, and it's not your place to forgive it. Perhaps you'll never be in need of the money, but someday she might be. At least this way she'll be able to use whatever is there. I don't think you should try to prevent this from happening. She already got dinged because you had to pay somebody to fight for her. Please don't allow her mother to ding her again. Hey everyone, if you found this story gripping and want to hear more crazy ones like this, Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping tales every week. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. If you have your own wild stories to share or ideas you'd like us to bring to life, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching.